Welcome, everybody, to Black and Gold Weekly, a weekly Boston Bruins show here on YouTube, brought to you in partnership with Black and Gold Productions. We are on episode 43, and it's been another interesting week for the Boston Bruins. Not exactly a great week either for the Bruins, as this very frustrating start to the season continues. And as you can see, we have a guest on this week. It is Avi Hoffman making his return. First time having Avi on in a while. It's nice to have you on again and have a chance to talk Bruins hockey.
Oh yeah, I'm totally glad I'm back on. Haven't been on since last year, late through the season, and we're 12, 13 games in, so there's a lot to get going.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Excited for this one. But before we get started, I do just want to give a big thank you to Mark Allred and the entire team at Black and Gold Productions. This show would not be happening without them. So big thank you to them for all of the support. Also, as always, want to draw your attention down to the links in the description. If you want Boston Bruins apparel, NHL apparel from any team, or NCAA college apparel, it is all there in those 3 links. A lot of different options, a lot of different product choices. Obviously, all the usual stuff like jerseys and hats and sweatshirts and t-shirts, but a lot of really cool accessories on there as well, all team branded stuff that you can check out. So if you're in the market for any of that, then it would be awesome if you guys could check out those links down in the description. But let's get into it here. And I want to start with the game last night against the Edmonton Oilers because Avi was at that game last night and got to experience it firsthand. So I'm going to turn things right over to you. Just tell me about what last night looked like, how the game was, what it was like at the arena, and just the overall experience.
Wow, so first time, seeing Connor McDavid. That's the real reason why I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
But to get to the Bruins point, the crowd was pretty into it, but it wasn't the best. But overall, they started the game pretty well. They got a penalty. They couldn't score on it. Then the second and third line, they were getting beat by Nugent Hopkins, all those guys on the second and third line. Mm-hmm. Craig Smith, Hala, and Jake DeBrusk, that line. They were on the ice for -2 goals last night, and they only played, I'm pretty sure, 11 to 12 minutes, and they were the least. Like the fourth line played more than they did. On defense, I did not like what I saw out of Carlo. He was the main factor. Everyone else played okay, but he gave up 2 goals, obviously. And then I would like some positive parts was the PK. Edmonton didn't score in the power play. He had the best power play in the league. And Allmark, seeing him in person, he gave up a lot of rebounds. He gives up so many big rebounds, second chance, and that was not good to see. So from that game, I just think Swayman's probably the go-to guy going forward from now. But overall, Edmonton speed, they just outworked us. They were a better 5-on-5 team. They got more chances. They were in our zone a little more. And that just shows, the Bruins' depth is still an issue. Our top line, they're going to do their thing almost every night. But if you're not getting, like, Craig Smith, who's, like, a guy who we're supposed to bring in and, like, be really productive consistently day to day, and he has no points on the season, that's not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I just think Edmonton's third and fourth line outplayed our third and fourth line. And that's the difference because Edmonton has just as good as the top line as we do. Mm-hmm. So that's almost going to even out.
Yeah, it's literally the same old issues for the Boston Bruins. And these are things that we thought were going to be different this year, that were supposed to be better. But not enough production from anybody other than the top line. Guys not stepping up, not having enough depth. Defensive mistakes have been a big problem this year, and that's almost a new problem that we're seeing a level, or I guess a level, not reaching a level of defense that we're used to seeing with the Bruins. We're not getting the goaltending. I don't think has been the main issue, but we're not getting good enough goaltending to steal games that in the past the Bruins were able to steal. And now with the worse defense that we're getting. You're seeing a lot more pucks end up in the back of the net because the goaltenders aren't stealing games the way that Bruins goalies have in the past. So it's been a recipe for a very frustrating start to the year. I think last night's game, so many have been like that, where the Bruins they're not the better team, and they're not finding ways to win. They're not stealing games. And I think way too much this season, the Bruins haven't been the better team on the ice. Like, they're getting outplayed in way too many of these games.
Yeah, I agree. To go back to that point, I don't think like I was gonna talk about Mike Riley and Clifty.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys also they haven't been bad at all, but they haven't made any like plays that like oh that jump out to you.
Yeah.
So I think the depth for the defense, like if that doesn't get better, because I think our offense, like we're capable of scoring goals. Like
Mm-hmm.
Smith's in a slump, Hall's been okay, but I think we can put up points. But it's really about the Bruins like not allowing over 3 goals a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's just gonna win us games. Because eventually, you know, if the top line, anyone gets hurt, anyone from that McAvoy Hall goes down, we're gonna be screwed because we just don't have the depth teams do. We thought we brought in guys. You know, Nick hasn't played enough to see what he's capable of yet. But you know, Hala and Jake DeBrusk, you know, those are two guys who we need to score like at least 3 times, once every 3 games to get a goal in. But we're just not. I think we're gonna make the playoffs, but you know, it's probably gonna be a tight race
Mm-hmm.
if we don't get things going more. And Cassidy's got to mix up the lines better. I'm not the coach or anything, but I don't know why Studnicka's out every other game. Like you got to give him like 3 games
Mm-hmm.
to see if gets like rhythm. How can you put him in and then take him out the next game? Put him in. You know, Coolman, he wasn't in last night for a speedy Edmonton team who's physical. He hasn't been bad on the fourth line. I thought he should have been in.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just moving Smith down to the third line. I don't know what's that's doing, like to try to get him going more and not playing with Hall. So you know, there's some interesting line combinations that I think Cassidy needs to get his head out of his ass. So we'll see what goes on for the future, but it's basically on Carlo, Riley, Jake DeBrusk, Holla, and Craig Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 5 guys that really need to step up, or it's gonna be a long season.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really starting to get worried about this team. This team has not looked the way that I thought they were going to this year. All the improvements that I thought they made haven't really been improvements. I think the defense is significantly worse than what we're used to. Again, they're not getting, that elite level goaltending. They're getting like good goaltending, but not elite level goaltending. And when you have a worse defense in front of that, it doesn't help out. Olmark has not put up good numbers. He's given up like 3 goals a game, and his numbers. He has worse numbers this year with Boston than
Uh-huh.
he did in Buffalo. Like, how do you have worse numbers in Boston than you did in freaking Buffalo? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Swayman's played pretty well. His save percentage isn't super high, but his goals against is low, which is good. Again, like you said, that 3 goal mark. Like, that's the mark for the Bruins, is that they need to give up 3 or less goals for them to really have a chance to win. And what we've seen from the Bruins over the past few years is that they've been able to hold teams to 3 or less goals. And they've always been one of the top 10 or even top 5 teams in the league as far as goals against go. And all of a sudden this year, that's not the case. They're giving up way more goals this year. They're not holding teams under 3, and they're losing a lot more games because of it. And now you're watching this Bruins team, and to me, they look like a mediocre 500 hockey team right now.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's why we're 1 game over 500, and you know that just shows we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I thought this was gonna be our last year to go win a cup. I thought this roster was pretty much good enough to win a cup.
Yep.
Like on paper, it should be, but it's just not showing out. And there's nothing they can do. They just have to play better. There's teams, they're capable of turning up. I think
Yeah.
everyone knows they can, but it's just when they're going to do it. Maybe they're starting out slow and they'll hit their stride later, but you got to hope for that because the teams in our division, the Wings are going to be there, and obviously the Lightning, Leafs, and Panthers are probably all going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to be in a dogfight to make the playoffs if our goaltending doesn't just get a little better
Yeah.
and our defense just, stop. I think we're like fifth or sixth in the league in penalties taken, too. We've taken a lot of penalties. So we got to stay 5-on-5 more, just do the smart plays. Like, get out of your zone. I think like last night, even the top line, Pasta out a wide open shot. He gives it up. We
Yeah.
end up don't getting the shot on. We got to shoot the puck more, I think, because that's what the Bruins do. We score dirty goals. We don't like we can score the fancy goals, but that's not how the Bruins usually do it. We're
Mm-hmm.
not like the Carolina Hurricanes or anything. Those teams have like real talent. We're just like a dirty team that gets to down low. And to go back to what I've seen from Charlie McAvoy this year, if you're having one of the best defensemen like him do everything every night, and you're still not winning games, like I'm concerned about like where this future is for like our top guys like Pasta. We got to pay soon and all of them because it could go this next 2 seasons. Bergie will get a little older. He's still really good. It could really flip the script. Are these young? Is Swayman the future?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this whole season tells like where this team goes for the upcoming years. And I am concerned, but at the same time, just a wait and see game with this team. The second and third line just got to get going.
Yeah, you bring up McAvoy. I feel
Uh huh.
like McAvoy's the only one that like jumps out on the back end.
Totally.
Like he's the only one that stands out and you watch him play and you're like, "Holy crap, this guy is one of the best defensemen in the league." But then everyone else on that blue line, it's just so bland and just blah. Like they're okay.
Every one of those guys makes a mistake every other game. It's like weird. Like
Mhm.
they all can't play consistent one night.
Yeah, you just haven't seen nearly enough from Carlo. Grizzlick, I think, has been very quiet this
Yeah,
season.
he hasn't been doing much.
Forbert and Clifton both play like bottom pair guys, which they are. They should like that's not a
Mm-hmm.
knock against them. They are bottom pair guys. Riley's such a mixed bag. Like he can do a lot offensively, but there's also a lot of turnovers. There's a lot of, him getting caught up ice and, not getting back defensively. It's like you never know what you're going to get from him. It's like the rest of this
Uh huh.
defense is just such a question mark. And like McAvoy is the only consistently good one on that back end.
Oh yeah, I agree. Mike Riley is awful in his own zone. He like panics every time he gets the puck down low in his own zone. And yeah, even we didn't even talk about Carlo there, but Carlo's our second best defenseman, I would probably say.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
he had a bad game last night. If Carlo's going to be having bad games, it's going to be a long season for this T core and everything.
Yeah.
And also, I think we should to get Grizzly going. I would put him back with McAvoy
Oh, I would
and
too.
have like I don't know why Cliffy and Mike Riley. I feel like Mike Riley and Carlos should be together,
Yep.
and Grizzlick and McAvoy, and then Cliffy and Forsberg. I think those would be good because you got to get Grizzlick going. He can. He's not anything crazy offensively, but he's got a shot. He
Though
can make some plays.
those are the
Those are
D
the good
pairs
you
that I
want,
wanted since the start of the year. Was
right?
Grizzlick, McAvoy, Riley, Carlo, and Forbert and Clifton. Those are the D pairs that this
Uh
team
huh.
should be using. And the D pairs have changed so much.
I
Cassidy
know.
switches them like every game, like in the middle of the game. Forbert will start playing up with McAvoy, and then by like the second period, it's Grizzlick up there, and then Grizzlick plays with Clifton, and then like
Yeah.
Riley plays with Clifton, and it's like, why are you changing all of this? Like guys need to play with a consistent partner to build that chemistry and be able to, have that trust in each other and be able to play well together. Like you can't be changing it throughout the game all over the place. And like I feel like every defenseman is played with like every other defenseman on the other side. It's like can we find D pairs and let them stay as D pairs for more than a couple of periods and actually figure out which pairs are going to work best together? That's something that's been really aggravating. It's like they're constantly putting different guys together and none of them are working. It's like, why don't we let some chemistry be built here and try and find good pairings for this team? Because right now, I don't think any of their pairings have been great. McAvoy, again, is the only one standing out in a positive way.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Cassidy sometimes I feel like he tries too many things and just doesn't keep it consistent. Like Grizzlick, it's weird because when we go down in games, Grizzlick will come play with McAvoy.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously you should, but why don't you start the game like that and like
exactly.
get a jump? Cliffy should not be playing like any more than like 14 minutes a night,
Yep.
and he is. Mike Riley and Carlo together, you have a guy in Mike Riley who Carlo will help him down low, and then you have a guy who can shoot the puck on offense. And Carlo is okay in the offensive zone; he can make some passes. So you gotta. Those should be the six decor lines, the three decor lines. And it's not close. And then up front, I would love Stanika to just play 3 or 4 games in a row.
Mhm.
Like I don't think he's really done anything, but like you can't do anything when you get taken out and put in every other game. Like hockey, you need rhythm. You
Mhm.
got to play with people. So it just I think Cassidy's got to come up better game plan because I feel like he's getting clueless out there what he wants to do. And if that doesn't change, this team could really go downhill or it could really go uphill these next few games
Mhm.
because our schedule is not too bad these next couple games. We have another like week off, I think,
Yeah.
which is so dumb. I don't know what our schedule is like.
It's
And then
ridiculous.
we're gonna be playing so many games in like March and April. So, but yeah, it's all with Cass. Getting his team ready to go for a full 60 minutes, because the Bruins always play like a good period for like second or third period. We come out flying, but then we're like average for 2 periods.
Yep.
Like we got to play a full 60 minutes. Can't just be the top line creating chances. And yeah, it's really on Smith, Coyle, Hall, all those guys to get some points on the board, even if it's in like once in a while get a point because the top line is almost getting 2 points a game.
Mhm.
They're just that good.
Yep.
They're the best line in hockey. So I'm still confident in this group, but it's really on just making better adjustments mid game, or we're just not going to be going anywhere. These teams are better. Like even
Yeah.
against the Leafs, the Leafs, they just outskated us. Absolutely outskated us. They had more chances. We played okay, but we gave up dumb penalties and Matthew buried us. So it's all about just playing harder.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, playing a full 60 minutes. There have not been many games this year where the Bruins have played a full 60 minutes. They'll have a good period here and there, but they can't put a whole game together. And the Leafs game, I mean, that was a great first period, felt like a playoff game in the first
Yep.
period. And then Boston comes out in the second and is just horrible. Horrible in the second period. And then they find themselves down by 3 goals. They have to try and come back in the third period. And they had a big push at the end, but it was too little, too late, and they end up losing. And that's one of those games where you were in good shape on the road after that first period. All you have to do is play the second period just like you played the first. And what do? They come out and they look like a last place team in the second period and get walked all over. And it's been so frustrating this year because they've done that so many times where they just have these really bad periods. And it ends up costing them games and it's costing them wins. And they're not getting the goaltending that can steal games the way that they have in years past, where, maybe they don't have a great night, maybe they don't bring their A game, but they're still able to come away with at least a point, if not two. That's not happening this year. Like, they're losing these games because of those bad periods, and it's been really frustrating to watch, and this team has just been so up and down to start this year. It's been a complete roller coaster that I was hoping was going to kind of even out a little bit, but it stayed exactly just up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, this team plays really inconsistent. I didn't even notice that Cody Cece got the fifth goal. I was so mad. Like once I forgot he scored last night. So
Yeah.
when Cody Cece scoring goals on you, you know you're doing something wrong.
Yep.
So yeah, it starts with playing better. Like we play solid in the first, I'd say most periods,
Yep.
but then it just goes down. Second period's probably our worst period, and then we try to get it back in the third, and it's just a little too late. And that's just on their coaching, I think, honestly. you got to get your team ready to come out and play hard every period because in the NHL this year it's so competitive. There's
Hmm.
not one team who's like so much better than anybody else this year. So it's gonna come down to, will this team make the plays they need to in the clutch because these other teams are just better than us. The Leafs, the Panthers. If we played them in the series right now, obviously that's so long down the road, but we're just not better than them. And I also think it starts, how you go to the goaltending. Goaltending's been average, I would say,
Hmm.
but like last night, honestly, when I look back at it, not one of the goals is really his fault. Like all the goals are right in front of the net, turnovers. So the defense definitely has to support him more. I think Swayman should honestly be playing a little more, see what he
Hmm.
can do. I think like switching goalies in and out, isn't the obviously you want to rest your guys, but he's gonna play enough where you can get Swayman in more.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts with just keeping the turnovers down, just playing smart Bruins hockey, getting in the forecheck. Because we make good chances happen. Taylor Hall, these guys, they make chances happen, but we're just not finishing them off. Only the top line can finish them off. And I think our power play is like eighth or ninth best. I checked in the league, so we're scoring pretty good on the power play right now. But that's not going to keep up always. So we got to score more 5-on-5 goals.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was gonna ask you what you think the biggest problem for this team is right now, and I know for me, I think it's the defense and just they were giving up way too many high quality chances against, and they're turning the puck over way too much. The turnovers from this team have resulted in a lot of goals against, and they're really bad turnovers. And we've seen it from forwards, we've seen it from defensemen. We've seen it from veteran guys. Taylor Hall had a horrible turnover in the game against Ottawa. Riley turned the puck over a couple weeks ago. It was one of the games a
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks ago that resulted in a goal against. We've seen it's just the overall team defense from this team is not where it normally is for the Boston Bruins.
So I think the biggest issue is Craig Smith with no points yet, our second line winger.
Yeah.
That doesn't change. We're going to be in a deep hole, and also Hala. He hasn't been what we expected from our third line guy who we brought in. I think those two guys are really keys to stepping up, and also getting Grizzly going. And I would say Mike Riley too. He's got to show more on offense. I think those four guys are going to tell how far this team really goes because those are guys who all have talent and can put the puck in the net. When they can. Hala, Smith, Grizzly, and Mike Riley. So I think it just comes down to depth scoring. Because in the playoffs, I'm pretty sure last year, our top line scored so much,
Mm-hmm.
and the Islanders, their bottom six absolutely buried our bottom six,
Yep.
and our bottom six supposed to be better. So even Jake DeBrusk, he's been all right this year. He's been playing aggressive, but he can finish a little more. So that's what I think our biggest issue, just the bottom depth, playing consistently more on a basis. Maybe even if you're not scoring goals, don't be giving up goals
Yeah.
because Bruins are gonna play more low scoring games where our top line's not going off because I don't trust our bottom six to really score too much. And even last night, the fourth line was on for like 15 minutes. It was kind of interesting. They didn't play bad, I didn't think, but they didn't really do anything either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a shut. They were on with the Leon Nugent Hopkins line and not the McDavid line. But Leon Draisaitl ended up scoring like 2 goals. So
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, they weren't really the fourth line's fault, but I don't know what Cassie was doing, only playing the third line like 10 minutes in like an up tempo game when Holla and Jake both have speed. So it was interesting to see what Cassie was doing, but it's just on the bottom six, just playing, not even like scoring goals, but you got to play more aggressively. Like you got to give the team more jump.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pasternak, Marchand, they give almost their effort. If you watch Marchand and Bergey's effort every shift, they're going out there. I feel like it's just like a 5-man team with those four, Hall and McAvoy. So that's where it comes down to.
Yeah, definitely. Issues with the depth that we thought were going to be better this year with the additions of Howla and Felino and Nosek and
Mm-hmm.
Forbert coming in on the back end. Like we thought that the depth was going to be better this year, and once again, third and fourth line continues to be a big problem, and Craig Smith is doing absolutely nothing. Eric Howla is doing absolutely nothing. Jake DeBrusk scored a couple goals early in the season, but doesn't have any points since. I will say, he looks better. He's playing with a lot more energy and a much higher effort level than what we saw last year, but the points aren't there. And the third line, Foligno's missed all but 3 games this season. He already got injured, so we really haven't been able to see Nick Foligno what he can bring yet. But it's like, oh my God, it's the same things. And all of these fixes that we thought we had aren't actually been fixes, and it's been more of the same, and they're just way too reliant on that top line to do everything.
Yeah, I agree. Jake DeBrust, I like what I'm seeing from him now. He brings more effort, more energy to the game. That's what we need. But I think going back to the defense, Grizzlick, Mike Riley, Cliffy, all these guys they got to bring more juice because they'll make a bad play and they'll just look down at themselves and be like, "What are we doing?" I feel like they don't. I don't know if the communication on the team's not good, or like chemistry and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it just seems like McAvoy's the only one like going. Like if I was watching him in person, his speed, like his energy he brings to the team
Yep.
is just crazy, and you're just not getting that from the other guys. We're basically a 5-man team. If you look at the points and stuff, we're basically a 5-man team right now, and that's you got to win with 18 players in the NHL.
Oh,
They don't.
absolutely.
All those other guys don't got to be scoring, but you can't be giving up goals. You got to block shots because the Leafs, Panthers. The Panthers team, their depth guys. I didn't even know too much of them this year, but they're producing more than our depth guys are.
Oh,
So
yeah.
all those guys are that's why they're better teams than us. Because everyone has a good top line almost, all the good teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not like I think our top line's obviously better, but it's going to even out most likely. And that's what it comes down to. All these last cup teams have been so deep. The Capitals, obviously the Bolts the last 2 years, the Penguins in 16 and 17. It wasn't just Malcolm and Crosby. So
Mm-hmm.
that's our really issue, and I'm more I'm thinking about that. I don't know how far this team can go this year without those guys stepping up, and it sucks to see because our top line deserves a cup. How good they've been in the playoffs in the past few years. So it's really on Cassidy to get them going too. I really want to see Cassidy have like the third and second line consistently have like 5 guys, 5 games in a row play the same guys with Grizzlick, McAvoy. Just have Smith, Coyle, and Hall, Foligno, Hala, and Jake,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kuhlman, Norsek, and Lazar, whatever it is, and just play those guys like 5 games in a row and see how it is, and then make adjustments.
Yeah.
That,
I'm worried about this team not even making the playoffs at this point. Because it's such a difficult division at the top with Tampa Bay, Toronto, Florida. Those 3, I
yeah,
can't see any of them not making the playoffs. So now you're looking at Boston being a wild card team, and that's even if the Atlantic gets to send 4 teams, or maybe the Metro could end up sending 5 and the Atlantic only 3, because the Metro division right now looks absolutely ridiculous with literally not a single losing team in that division. They're all over 500. And the Devils look significantly better this year. The Blue Jackets are playing way better than anyone thought that they were going to be. Even in the Atlantic, the Red Wings are a heck of a
yep,
lot better than a lot of people thought they were going to be. Their young players have arrived in a big way this season with Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider. So, like, all of a sudden, I feel like a team in Boston that I thought was going to be a lock for the playoffs and should be a cup contending team. Now, all of a sudden, a month into the season, I'm worried about not even making the playoffs. Like, I think if they don't get this fixed and start putting some wins together, this team cannot get a winning streak going. Every time they win a game, they lose a game. It's like it's alternating. Every time they win, they lose, or every time they win a couple, then they'll lose a couple. If they don't start putting some wins together and picking up some points, I'm really starting to get worried about this team. And the fact that they made all of these changes this offseason and none of them have really helped the team to this point, and it's still the same old issues for the Bruins, is really got me concerned at this point.
Oh yeah, no, if we don't make the playoffs, then I 100% believe Cassidy's got to go. Um, but I think we'll make the playoffs because just her top line. I don't think they're just gonna let us not miss the playoffs. Like we're too good to miss the playoffs. This team's still too good. And if we do miss the playoffs, then we got to make major adjustments. I don't know what the future will look like. We just paid Taylor Hall, all these guys, so
Yeah.
that would be a big issue. If we're playing, how much do we pay the goalie? Yamar? We paid him like
Hallmark
8
of
mil.
five
Yeah,
mil a year.
5 mil. Like we paid all these guys to be who they think they should be, and missing out on the playoffs for the Boston Bruins, that would be a massive disappointment to say
Oh
the
yeah.
least. So I think we just gotta get going. These next two games against the Devils and Habs, these are two must-win games because then we have a week off. So I think we got to get 2 wins right here before this week off and build off these games hopefully because the Devils they're looking good, but we should still beat them. Like we're better than them easily. So and the Habs have just not been good this year. So
Yeah.
starts with these next 2 games getting 2 big wins, and then hopefully starting from there because the Leafs and Panthers and Lightning, they're only going to get better. Those are good, especially the Leafs and Panthers. They're regular season teams. I don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs, but they're going to win in the regular season a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm concerned about. And if the Rangers, Flyers, Canes, Capitals, all these teams keep winning, the Bruins, they could be in the scare to miss the playoffs because how good that division is. They could get 5 teams in. But hopefully, those teams, even out and they beat them up a little in the division.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, then Bruins could be screwed if we don't get going.
Yeah, there's still obviously a long, long way to
Yeah.
go here. We're back to a full 82 game season. It's not like last year where, it was kind of that 56 game sprint and, how you did in the first 20 games really
Mhm.
meant a lot to how you were going to finish. Whereas this year, you have a little bit more time to, make up for a slow start and a little bit more time to, get your feet under you and really start winning. But at 6-5, Boston's definitely left a lot to be desired to this point in the year. But like you said, they've got, these 2 games coming up this weekend before this another random long break in the middle of the year, which is getting super annoying. I talked a lot about that last week. Um, you know, if they can get to 8-5 before this break and just be 8-5, have 16 points, like they're still in a decent enough position to where, I wouldn't necessarily be super worried yet, and obviously such a long, long way to go. There's
Yeah.
plenty of time to make up those spots in the standings, but yeah, if they lose to the I mean, I can't imagine they're going to lose to Montreal. Montreal's been absolutely horrible this year. But if they lose to the Devils on Saturday, you have a 6-6 hockey team.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be really bad. That's gonna be a good game. The Devils, they play speed. They're all speed. They love to fly, and the Bruins struggle with that. So
Bruins
that's
had a
gonna
lot of
tell.
problems with the Devils last year.
Yeah, I remember. I was at the Devils game. They scored 5 goals on us. So that'll be a good game. That'll be a good bounce back test for the Bruins because the Devils are a team. They're just a feisty team. They got a lot of young guys,
And they've
and
been really good this year.
hmm and even after we play the Devils when we got the week off, then we got the Flames and the Flyers. Those
Yep.
would be some big games that two like solid teams that are who could be playoff teams this year. That would test where we've at. So no, we have a lot of important games coming up. That's gonna still such a long way, but I feel like the Bruins get down early, and we don't. If we don't at least win, if we don't. We better. I hope we win 2. We should win both of these games against the Habs and Devils. But if we end up losing even 1 or even 2, we're gonna be in a long hole. I think because the Leafs are just not gonna lose. The Panthers just they're so good at a regular season team. I don't see them losing a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a big game for the depth guys to show are they ready to go? And you know, I hope we make the playoffs because if we don't, then I don't know where this franchise goes from next on because Bergie and Marshy, and like they got like they're still good, but they're gonna wear down eventually. They bring it every night, and once they're gone, who knows where this team goes. So this is our last year. This might be our last year to go win a cup. Maybe next year, but I think this is really it to go win a cup, and we got to start. Like that's our expectation to win a Stanley Cup, not to make the playoffs, not to do all this, and it starts game by game, just playing consistently better.
Yeah, I really feel like even going into this season was kind of the last
Uh-huh.
hurrah, the last chance, and it's not been an impressive start. This was a team that I thought was going to be a lot better. I raved all off season about the Bruins moves and the guys that they brought in, and I thought this team was going to be so much better this year and really have better depth. I thought, they have good enough defense to hold on similarly to how they had been playing. I expected way more from Linus Ullmark in goal. I mean, that way that he played in Buffalo, I thought he could be easily a top 10 goalie in
Yeah, he was a
Boston,
beast.
and he
He
hasn't
was,
been even close to that. And I think we definitely need to see more of Swayman. Swayman's been the better goaltender so far. Um, and when you need wins, the way that the Boston Bruins need wins, you've got to ride the hot goaltender. You've got to play the better player. And right now, that's Jeremy Swayman. Now, the issue here is that their next 4 games are in back-to-back sets. So, you're probably going to be switching the goalies again, where one's going to play Saturday and one's going to play Sunday because there's no day off in between. And this schedule is so weird with Saturday, Sunday, entire week off, Saturday, Sunday. Like, so you're setting yourself up again for Olmark to play 2 games and for Swayman to play 2 games, because you generally don't play a goalie on back-to-back nights unless you're really desperate. It's just like there's so much hasn't gone the way that I thought it was going to for the Bruins this year. And I feel like they need to turn it around quick or they're digging themselves a hole that they might not be able to get out of.
I agree. Yeah, the schedule, it's just making us more challenging on the Bruins, but that's what's honestly scaring me. We're going to be playing like 15, 16 games, in March and April.
Yep.
And those are probably going to be all big games fighting to make the playoffs or we don't start getting hot soon. I think December is probably the biggest month for the Bruins. Obviously, you could say the last few months, but December, I think I looked at our schedule, it's not too bad.
Yep.
So we gotta win a lot of games in December, and then I feel like the Olympic break. Who knows what it's gonna do to this team, especially
Yeah.
because of the chemistry issues and stuff. So I think really getting rhythm down before the Olympic break and all that is gonna be big. Because our top guys are going to, I think, honestly, if we don't start doing well, they're going to be so focused on trying to win a gold for their country more than they're trying to be winning a cup for the Bruins if we're still around 500 going into the Olympic break. So that's what I'm really concerned about, just playing better as a group, just playing more consistently, getting it down low, stop with the turnovers. I'm still confident in this group. As I said, I want Studnicka to play a little more. Even Coolman, keep him on the fourth line. I've liked what I've seen from him this year.
Yeah.
So it's just making adjustments. And yeah, Swayman needs to play more. I don't like he obviously those back to backs he can't be playing, but once you get into late December and stuff, he's got to be the go-to guy. You got to play him like 60% of the time, and him like other guy 40% of the time,
Yep.
even maybe 70-30.
Yep.
Because he's only going to get better the more you play. And he's the guy who could be the future for what Tuukka's been all these years. So we got to see what he's capable of.
Yeah, one last thing before I let you go here. I'm just kind of looking ahead at the Bruins' upcoming schedule, and I really feel like these next 4 to 5 weeks
Yeah.
might determine the Bruins' season. Like, they're 6-5 right now, right around 500. Like, if they can, obviously they have these weekend sets coming up against the Devils and Canadians, and then the Flyers and the Flames. That's not one easy game
Yeah.
there. Not one easy game there, even though Montreal should be an easy game with the way that they play. you know that just
It's a
because of
rival.
the rivalry, and if there's ever a game that Montreal, as bad as they have been this year, is going to get up for, it's going to be that game. So that's tough. Then they go at Buffalo. Then they have to play the Rangers. Then they play the Canucks and Red Wings. Those are two games that you really need to
Wow.
win. And then going into December, they
Wow. It's hard in December. Oh my
they've got
God.
Nashville, they've got Tampa, they've got a Western Canadian trip to Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary. That's not going to be easy. Then they have to play Vegas,
And
the Islanders, Montreal, and Ottawa on back-to-back nights. Again, those are two games that should be wins, but I don't trust as wins with this team.
especially on
They've
back
got
to back.
Carolina and Colorado before the Christmas break. Then they've got Pittsburgh coming out of the Christmas break. Then they finish the month with Ottawa again. Like there aren't a lot of easy wins here. Like there really aren't easy wins in the NHL, but there aren't easy scheduled wins here for the Bruins, or at least not many of them. They're gonna have a big 4 or 5 weeks here to really kind of solidify themselves as a playoff level team.
Yeah, December is gonna tell our season how far this team goes. If we're around, we should probably be like, I would say, like, I would hope to be 5, 6 games above 500
Yeah.
at the end of December, just looking at that schedule. But if we're anything around 500, and who knows what the Leafs and Panthers schedule is? There's probably easier than those.
Yep.
They're going to be winning games. The Lightning are going to come around eventually. They've been picking it up. So yeah, that's a hard schedule, especially for this team who hasn't really figured out what kind of way they want to play. Every night's like a different way how they win games and stuff. So this team has the good enough talent, to do what they want to do consistently. They got all the guys. They just got to produce. Jake Holla, those are third line guys, but will they play like third line guys or fourth line guys? So that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, a lot of the same old issues here for the Bruins. Depth problems on a very, very inconsistent start. Not getting good enough team defense. Not getting elite level goaltending. Getting more average level goaltending. Not getting nearly enough secondary scoring. Once again, way too reliant on the top line for any sort of offense. Really does feel like not even the same, because Boston's been good even with some of these issues the last few years. It seems like they're even more of issues, or the team isn't able to overcome these issues the way that they have over the last few years. And it seems like there is definitely reasons to be concerned here with this group, because this isn't the start that I think many Bruins fans were expecting.
Yeah, just to wrap it up, I just hope, the top line just continues to do the thing because we're going to need them to all season. You just can't trust Coyle, Hall, even like Smith, all these guys just to like produce
Mm-hmm.
because they're not. The Bergy, Marshy, Pasta are going to lead the points by so much. And, that's expected of them, obviously, but they shouldn't be like carrying them. They're not like, I don't think Marchand, Pasta, those guys, they're not like Leon and McDavid who can carry Edmonton like all the way. Those guys are different types.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Florida's top line, all these. That's what I was going back to. Everyone has like a good top line, so it's almost going to even out. And this comes down to depth scoring and depth contribution. And really Grizzly, Mike Riley, just they got to score. They got to get some offense going. That's why they're there.
Yep.
Carlo, Forsberg, and McAvoy. Those are the three guys for the D. So overall, just having the depth guys score and not having McAvoy play 25 minutes every night, doing everything he can to win every game that he's capable of. But will he get? He could get injured if he's doing this every single night. That's what I'm concerned about. So, yeah, Cassidy making his team play more consistently for 60 minutes every game. It just starts one game at a time with his next two games. Let's get 2 wins this weekend and start from there.
Yeah, definitely. Big weekend coming up for the Bruins, trying to get back and separate themselves a little bit above the 500 mark. And 2 wins this weekend would definitely go a long way in doing that. In 2 games that they should probably win against the Devils and the Canadiens. Although with the way that this season is gone, I don't think you can really count on anything as far as wins go. You got to go out there and earn it each and every night, and we'll see if Boston's going to be able to do that or not this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, with their next couple of games. But Avi, it was great to have you on as always, and awesome to talk some Boston Bruins hockey. Hasn't exactly been the start that we hoped for, but we talked about a lot of things that if they can fix and get, at least better, they're probably never going to completely fix it, but at least if they can get it better, they might be able to start ripping off some wins here. But appreciate you coming on and talking Bruins and being on episode 43 here.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure to come on with you to talk some Bruins hockey. And, let's just hope for better days ahead with this group.
Definitely hoping for better days ahead as this Bruins team tries to still find some consistency and find their footing in the 2021-2022 season. But that is going to bring us to the end here of episode 43. Before we go, again, I want to thank Mark Allred and the entire team at Black and Gold Productions for all of their support. Be sure to check out everything that the B&G writers put out on blackandgoldhockey.com, as well as the podcast network with a bunch of great shows all covering the Boston Bruins, all available at blackandgoldhockey.com. Also, want to remind you about the links down in the description, whether you're in the market for Boston Bruins, any other NHL team, or NCAA gear. It is all there using those links down in the description. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode 43. We'll be back next week with a couple more games of Bruins hockey. They don't play at all during the week as this ridiculous schedule continues, but we'll have 2 more games to talk about, and then we'll have to talk about the week ahead as well as we head towards Thanksgiving time here and towards the end of November already in this NHL season that seems to be going by very, very fast. But again, guys, thank you all so much. See you next week. Have a great weekend. Talk to you all soon.